Now, US President Donald Trump has awarded Boeing the contract to build the next-generation air dominance fighter jet F-47.
And it'll be known as the F-47. The generals picked a title.
As the US projects air power in West Asia, it is also preparing for future conflicts. And leading the charge is, of course, Donald Trump. The president wants a new toy for his Air Force.
At my direction, the United States Air Force is moving forward with the world's first sixth-generation fighter jet.
The F-47 fighter jets will replace the aging yet world's most advanced air superiority fighter jets.
$300 million for one single jet. That's more than the GDP of some countries, making it the costliest weapon ever.
Currently, there are no sixth-generation fighter jets that are part of an operational fleet. Both Russia and China are working on their own sixth-generation warplanes, as are a bunch of European countries, but none of them officially has a commissioned sixth-generation fighter in their fleet.
The F-47 will be the most advanced, most capable, most lethal aircraft ever built.
What if I told you that a 45-year-old fighter jet design, properly upgraded, is keeping Chinese admirals awake at night? The F-16 Viper upgrades represent strategic modernization that's transforming Pacific air defense. Like a vintage muscle car retrofitted with cutting-edge technology, these aircraft are now formidable threats. Taiwan, the Philippines, and South Korea are integrating these jets with advanced AESA radars and anti-ship missiles, creating a network defense system that directly challenges China's naval power. Beijing has explicitly identified these developments as part of an American containment strategy, and they're not entirely wrong.
As we explore this air strategy, you'll discover how both sides are adapting to this evolving aerial chess match.
America's air dominance strategy, the F-47 and F-16 modernization campaign.
Boeing's recent $20 billion contract to develop the F-47 represents far more than just another defense acquisition. It signals a fundamental reshaping of American air power strategy for the coming decades. The Pentagon has initiated a calculated two-pronged approach, developing next-generation aircraft while simultaneously upgrading allied fighter fleets across the Pacific region. This coordinated strategy creates an integrated defense network that vastly complicates China's regional ambitions. The F-47 program produces a sixth-generation fighter that revolutionizes air dominance beyond the aging F-22 Raptor. The F-47 embodies a shift toward distributed lethality, networked systems operating cohesively across vast distances, fundamentally altering power projection in contested environments. The F-47's modular design philosophy with open systems architecture enables rapid integration of evolving technologies without comprehensive airframe redesigns. Air Force testing has validated these concepts through over 300 flight hours, proving they can push technological boundaries while maintaining reliability. This adaptability ensures the platform can evolve against emerging threats for decades. This next-generation development complements the Pentagon's strategic modernization of F-16 fleets throughout the Pacific. South Korea's program has enhanced maritime strike capabilities with advanced anti-ship missiles like the AGM-158 CLRASM, transforming tactical fighters into formidable threats against naval assets, directly challenging China's maritime strategy. The geographic distribution of these fighters creates a technological puzzle where each piece reinforces regional deterrence. The Philippines' acquisition of 12 new F-16s and Taiwan's conversion of 64 airframes to the Viper standard establish a distributed network surrounding China's periphery. Each upgraded fleet serves as both an individual defensive capability and a node in a larger deterrent system. These upgrades include sophisticated data links enabling real-time information sharing between forces, creating an interoperable network coordinating responses to threats. The programs extend beyond hardware to include training, multiplying the effectiveness of technical improvements. The F-47 requires 30% less manpower and supporting infrastructure while delivering superior capabilities, critical for sustained deployment in remote Pacific locations. This reduced footprint enables more flexible basing options, complicating adversary targeting calculations.
Beijing's strategic nightmare. The encirclement narrative and naval vulnerability.
The flexible basing options that make these aircraft so effective for the US create a strategic nightmare for Chinese military planners who now face an uncomfortable reality. Their prized naval assets, the backbone of regional power projection, have suddenly become vulnerable from nearly every direction. What happens when a rising power's maritime ambitions collide with an established aerial containment strategy? For Beijing, the answer is clear: existential threat. Chinese state media frames F-16 sales and upgrades as components of a deliberate American strategy to encircle China, limiting its access to vital trade routes and strategic areas. This messaging shapes domestic opinion while justifying China's accelerated military expansion. Picture this scenario. A Chinese destroyer patrolling disputed waters suddenly detects multiple radar signatures approaching from different directions. F-16s from Philippines, Taiwan, and Japan, each carrying advanced anti-ship missiles, have established overlapping coverage zones, effectively turning the once dominant vessel into a vulnerable target. This technological edge forces Beijing to reconsider its maritime dominance. The anti-ship capabilities integrated into modernized fighter jets challenge Beijing's fundamental strategy in the South China Sea and Taiwan Strait. Chinese military strategists recognize these capabilities as calculated moves to constrain China's naval assertiveness. The precision strike potential threatens to neutralize China's carefully cultivated maritime advantages, undermining years of strategic positioning. This perceived encirclement has catalyzed increased military spending and naval expansion. China's military modernization specifically targets achieving superiority in contested waters, with systems designed to counter American and allied military assets throughout the region.
The economic stakes are significant. The South China Sea serves as a critical artery for global commerce, with substantial international trade passing through these waters. Any military conflict could severely disrupt shipping lanes, affecting vessels that sustain Asian, European, and American markets. For Beijing, controlling these waterways represents an economic imperative, with profound implications for China's growth.
China's response includes diplomatic pressure, issuing formal protests against countries accepting F-16 upgrades while leveraging economic influence to discourage military cooperation with the United States. These efforts aim to fracture the emerging network of American-aligned air power in the region.
The ripple effect. Russia and North Korea's strategic calculations.
As Beijing struggles to counter American air dominance diplomatically, Russia has begun making calculated military moves that suggest a fundamental realignment of power in the Pacific. Moscow now interprets the expanding network of US-aligned air capabilities as a direct challenge to its own Far Eastern interests and naval operations. This perception has triggered a significant military repositioning, with Russian forces conducting increasingly frequent naval exercises in the Sea of Japan, around the disputed Kuril Islands, and throughout the Sea of Okhotsk. For the Kremlin, this American-led aviation buildup mirrors NATO's eastward expansion in Europe, a parallel Russian military planners find deeply concerning. Their response has been methodical, strengthening naval presence, increasing Air Force deployments, and fortifying defensive positions across Russia's Pacific territories. Consider the recent Russian Pacific Fleet exercises near Vladivostok, where Admiral Sergei Avakiants explicitly cited aggressive Western air capabilities as justification for deploying additional Su-35 fighters to the region. North Korea has reacted with even greater alarm. Pyongyang officials have explicitly voiced concerns about South Korea's enhanced air capabilities, particularly advanced F-16s, potentially neutralizing North Korea's missile infrastructure. Their anxiety manifests in unusually direct diplomatic language. North Korean representatives warned that our deterrent measures will be activated in response to every U.S. step in the region. This signals a potential acceleration of missile testing and nuclear development, creating a dangerous escalatory dynamic. The security architecture is evolving beyond bilateral tensions into a complex multipolar confrontation. Russia and China are strengthening their military partnership. They conduct joint naval exercises. They coordinate air patrols, they enhance intelligence sharing. Both nations view US-led multinational exercises as inherently hostile. This perception drives Moscow and Beijing toward deeper strategic coordination. Defense analysts consider Russia's transfer of sophisticated air defense systems to China and North Korea increasingly likely. S-400 systems or more advanced technologies would significantly complicate American air operations. This could undermine advantages gained through F-16 modernization and F-47 development.
These developments transform Allied air capability modernization into a catalyst for new military alignments across Northeast Asia. As Russia strengthens ties with China and North Korea, the Pacific security environment becomes vastly more complex, with overlapping spheres of influence creating multiple potential flashpoints.
The technology race, sixth-generation competition and the future of aerial warfare.
Within the shadows of these emerging military alignments, engineers and test pilots are pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the air. For the first time since World War II, China claims to have matched and potentially surpassed Western aerial technology with its J-36 and J-X fighters, tailless sixth-generation aircraft that represent Beijing's most ambitious military aviation project to date. These platforms integrate artificial intelligence, enhance stealth capabilities, and hypersonic speeds in ways that could fundamentally alter air superiority dynamics. The diamond-shaped tailless design emphasizes long-range stealth and survivability. Recent flight tests demonstrated radar cross-sections 30% smaller than America's F-35, according to military analysts. Larger than Western counterparts, these aircraft reflect Beijing's assessment that Western fighters trade fuel capacity for compact frames. The three-engine configuration delivers both raw speed and robust power generation for advanced warfare systems. These aircraft serve as command nodes for drone swarms operating kilometers ahead, extending combat range by several hundred kilometers. With a projected 2,500-kilometer reach, they could target U.S. installations in Guam and Alaska, significantly expanding China's power projection capabilities. American engineers approached the challenge differently with the F-47. Captain Sarah Chen, test pilot for the program, describes it as flying tomorrow's battlefield today. Rather than focusing on size alone, the program emphasizes adaptability through modular architecture. The Pacific variant boasts 40% greater range than current fighters, while the European model prioritizes maneuverability in contested airspace. Both platforms leverage AI for combat advantage. Similar to how computerized chess transformed from novelty to dominance, these systems process sensor data and recommend countermeasures in milliseconds, far outpacing human reaction times. Economic sustainability challenges both programs. The F-47's digital design allows software updates without complete redesigns, potentially reducing lifecycle costs by 30% compared to legacy platforms. China's approach requires massive sustained investment in both research and production capacity. The security stakes extend beyond hardware. As these aircraft incorporate increasingly sophisticated computer systems, both nations are reinforcing cybersecurity measures, recognizing that compromised technology could nullify years of advantage. What we're witnessing across the Pacific is a seismic shift in power dynamics with global reverberations. The modernization initiatives represent a strategic inflection point that China perceives as a direct challenge to its expanding military footprint, particularly its naval capabilities in contested waters. This transformation creates a precarious balance. While escalation risks are substantial, economic and security interdependence provides incentives for diplomacy. The technological competition between Washington and Beijing demands both cooperation and strategic rivalry. As fighter jets reshape regional power, we must ask, how will technology, strategy, and alliance dynamics ultimately determine the Indo-Pacific's uncertain future?